The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations. That's
Good afternoon and welcome back. This is Lowe's Moore, and you're watching the Blueprint podcast. Look, I'm really excited, man, to be back this week. We had a wonderful interview last week with Ray Rice, man. He was amazing. As we talked about high school and his connection to Mount Vernon, and you know, we just had a great time, man, last week, man. I appreciate Ray for coming on, and we're expecting again. I'm going to drop my pebble. This is my pebble here. I'm going to drop it in the pond. I'm expecting a ripple effect each week, each and every week, man. I think you guys have, over the last now couple of years, I'm sure you've been blessed by the guests that have been on the show. I hope that you have learned something. And then when you drop something in the pond, it says it gives a ripple effect. So you never know when the impact is going to come. Sometimes people get an impact right away, and sometimes it's a delay, right? You hear something somebody says, a guest says during the course of the interview, and all of a sudden, right, it just said, I remember that guest saying this. They gave me these words of knowledge. Or you may be in an experience, right? And you're looking to get a reprieve. You're looking to grow. You know, you're just looking to go to your next level. And you hear something that somebody says that really blesses your heart, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, either way. So I'm really excited because last week was I hope you guys were happy with the results of last week's Super Bowl, right? I hope you guys were happy with it. I was satisfied with it, but my team wasn't really in. And so I was going to be happy for whoever won last week. So, you know, congratulations to the new Super Bowl champs, the LA Rams. I want to say congratulations to them, man. You know, what happens is that all your life as a kid, you dream about, you know, being an entertainer, being an athlete, being a science doctor, whatever it is. And then you finally get to the pinnacle of what you want to accomplish. There's always the pinnacle where you want to accomplish something. And, you know, for me, I always wanted to be in the NBA, right? And I always wanted to win, right? And I was in there for a little while. And I always had a dream about not only playing in the NBA, but winning an NBA championship. And also I used to dream about playing in the All-Star game, right? Because, you know, those are the things that I watched as a little kid growing up. Well, I never got the chance to win a championship and never got a chance to play in the NBA All-Star game. I went to an NBA All-Star game a couple of times. I went as a player, I went as a non-player. And it's just, the energy is just incredible. So I know what, if you're at the NBA All-Star game today, I know what kind of energy surrounds the NBA All-Star game. You know, just watching the celebrity game the other day, and then watching last night all the skills, you know, it was a question on, was that the worst dunk contest ever? And I don't want to say that, because, you know, each time we see a dunk contest, you could start with Dr. J and David Thompson back in the day, and they just kept raising the level of dunks, and just to an amazing stat. I used to always think that nobody could do it better than David Thompson, and nobody could do it better than Dr. J. And then all of a sudden, you seen people started coming up like Dominic Wilkins and Michael Jordan, man, and they started doing crazy dunks, man. I mean, and when I saw Vince Carter, I was like, okay, he took it to another level, right? And Tracy McGrady and all them guys, and seeing Kobe Bryant. And then when I guess with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, first of all, I thought it was amazing. I was telling my wife last night, it was amazing to see Dr. J with his hair flying back from the foul line, right? and then seeing Michael Jordan jump from the foul line, but Zach LaVine jumped from the foul line, put it through his legs, and dunked it. I knew, hey, I said, look, hey, I don't, I'm not gonna say it's the worst. It's just sometimes we can't meet the expectations. Right, there was no way in the world those guys, and they were good, they were talented, good jumpers, man. But man, you got to be really way out the box to meet Zach LaVine and what Aaron Gordon was doing, putting it through his legs. Look, everybody that's complaining about how bad it was can't dunk. So that's just the point. I mean, just it's everybody who complain out there can't do one dunk. They can't. I lower the rim for you, like Ernie Johnson, they lowered the rim so they could dunk, so he can dunk it, right? But no, man, be quiet, man. If you can't dunk, don't say nothing. If you wasn't invited, don't say anything. So, but I enjoyed all that. So let's get rolling. Let's get rolling here. Let me get to my word. Let me get to my books of the week. And I don't know if you guys knew about this, but Kobe Bryant has a series of books out, right? And it's called the Wizard series. And, Kobe had a creative mind. So, of course, he won an Oscar, did basketball. He did an animation. And these are 3 books. Right. And just real quick, the Wizard is for the Wizard of Westwood, which is Coach John Wooden. And the Wizard is Zen is inside of it. So it's for Phil Jackson, the Zen master. Right. And it's a team that's not a very good team, gets a new coach who happens to be almost something like Harry Potter. Right. He's a wizard. Right. And so he comes along and does all these magic things to make it more creative, more exciting to play basketball. And Kobe tells it a series of 3 books. He talks about that. So I was just looking at it and looking at the views on it, man. And for every kid that's out there that's got an imagination, all bad for me. It all started in my imagination. I love the round the back through the legs, spins. I love the creative stuff. That's what drew me to basketball, seeing Walt Frazier and Earl of Pearl Monroe and Dr. J waving the ball and Connie Hawkins waving the ball around and Pete Maravich throwing it through his legs and around his neck. That's the thing that drew me to playing the game of basketball, was the creativity part. I had to get past the boring stuff, the basic stuff, but you need the basics to be great. So that's it. That's the way it is. And so that's my books of the week. Here's my word of the week. Right. Artistic. Right. And that means that you're creative, right? That you got an imagination and you've learned to use that imagination. And that's my word of the week, man. Artistic. Right. Are you artistic? I think everybody has a little bit of artistic inside of them. Right. Sometimes we don't think about it. We just stay within the box. To be artistic, to be creative, you got to get out the box. So get out the box. That's the word of the day. Get out the box, and so my affirmation, right? And it's the Hill and Pierce Harper affirmation quote moment. And it says, other people may be surprised, but I always thought I should be number one. And that quote, I didn't know that Ben had about like 80 quotes on Google. Well, this is one of his quotes, right? I thought that Ben should have been the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Well, I'm a little biased, so but that was his quote. If you can't think like that, whenever I walked on the court, no matter when I walked, high school, college, professional, Kareem, Magic, anybody, I always believed I was the best player on the court, right? And if you don't believe that when you walk on the court, man, then you always play down to people, man. So that's my quote of the week, my affirmation of the week. And then I got my music, right? I think I'm gonna pull something up here. My music of the week is the soundtrack for one of my favorite basketball movies, which is The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Yeah. 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 It's the fish. All right. I don't know if y'all remember that movie, man, but that was probably the worst film movie ever. But the soundtrack was awesome, and anything that Dr. J was in was great. So yeah, so it was great because Dr. J was in it. And then my movie or documentary of the week is the NBA at 50. I'm sure there's going to be another one. Denzel Washington hosted the NBA at 50, and there's now got to be an NBA at 75, right? And they're missing a lot of players off that list, right? They might as well just go do 100 already. Don't wait for the year. It's definitely 100 great players out there. So, and yeah, check that DVD out, or that documentary on the history. Get 75 when it comes out, and then as I come to my final two things. Number one is Black History Moment, and you have down here Earl Lloyd, right? Nathan or Nat Sweetwater Clifton, right? And then I think that's Chuck Cooper. Now, all three of these guys were the first three to be drafted in the NBA. Earl Lloyd was the first to sign a contract, right? And Nat Sweetwater Clifton, right, was the first Black player to sign with the New York Knicks. All these three guys made history, breaking the color barrier and playing in the NBA for peanuts. I mean, little to no money. But hey, if it wasn't for these guys, right, I wouldn't be able to play. So, so for Black History Month, that's my Black History shout out, right? Remember, Black History is not 1 month, it's every day. So, and then finally, let me wish some birthdays here. My niece, Carice, my niece, Zamaria, and my godson, Travis. And happy birthday to you guys. And happy anniversary to my sister, Tracy, and her husband, Randy, my brother-in-law. You guys are amazing. Man, I hope you enjoyed your day, man. Pandemic kind of put a little spin on it. But, hey, I hope you guys enjoy it. Love you. And I'm praying that you have many, many, many more. And so right after this highlight, we're going to jump right into this interview, and I look forward to it.
Rondo, Gordon going by Allen, driving into Big Baby, finds the two inside with a foul. Lightning quick and explodes even with the bad left hamstring. The foul goes on Davis, who picks up his first, and Gordon will be at the line.
Well, the rule of thumb there for the Boston Celtics, they do not want Ben Gordon beating them going to the right. They made a mistake here. He goes to his right.
Ben, welcome to the show, man. That was awesome, man.
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
let me say this.
Real good.
Let me say this real quick, right? Only a few times I think when you're in love, right? You get goosebumps. Only a few times, right? And then when you know someone, right? Like when that one series, you did some great things, but I had the opportunity to be at one of the playoff games in Boston, and you were going through that playoff series, and that's the one time where I was absolutely just proud, right? and just, I was up there with your mom, your sister, man. I just got these chill, I was like, oh, and then, my wife, we were both there, and we were just like, wow,
That was an amazing atmosphere, man.
Yeah, Boston is crazy.
It was crazy in there, man.
Oh man. So I had on Ray last week, man. And he was talking about we had this curiosity conversation about him playing basketball, and he was talking about how he used to come over to the high school and work during the summertime, and got connected with you guys, and it was just amazing interview last week, man. So thanks for taking time out.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Yeah. Always miss you, man. But
for sure.
Yeah. So talk to me as we kind of go back a little bit, man. You got little man there. Where you at?
He right here right now. I got two of the trio. My oldest and my youngest. So I wanted you to clean them up a little bit. So I'm trying to let my oldest help his little brother out right now. he made a little mess, so so you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Just wipe him. Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit, man. I mean, as a little guy, I met you when I think it
must have been about like 6th grade, maybe
7th grade. I think it was about 7th grade. Yeah, just joined the club.
I think it was 6th grade, because the reason why I say 6th grade is because I wasn't playing on any organized teams when I first met you.
That's right.
My first organized team was 7th grade, and I remember it like yesterday, like even just talking about it. I remember my mom's taking me to Modell's over there by Pelham, and I wanted to get a pair of like basketball shorts so I could start going to the Boys and Girls Club, and those times were monumental for me, man, because I was like natural, I grew up in the park just playing and stuff, and learning from the older guys. But like sitting down with you would tell me, I always remember, you would tell me like the game is 90% mental, 10% physical. And when you first told me that, I'm like, huh? I didn't really understand it. And as I started to get older and more experienced and be around you more and learn the game more, then I'm like, oh, okay, I get what he's talking about. So yeah, I think it was about 6th grade when I was getting to a point where I was like, okay, like playing in the park is cool, but I need to, get around some organized, environments, and, start to, see what's going on that side, and, play against different people and stuff.
Yeah, and I remember we were working out, and I remember something unique with you was that everybody was playing. You was playing with everybody, and you say something to a kid, and the kid complain. Oh man,
right.
I don't know why I don't do that.
Right.
Like look, and you take somebody now. Everybody's the same size, so somebody got to play center, somebody got to play forward, somebody play guard.
Right.
I ain't playing center. I'm not a center man. I'm a guard. And I remember saying to you, "Hey Ben, I want you to go play center over there," and you just nod your head and go play. Right. So wherever I put you, you would just go and do it, and you didn't say a word, and you excelled at it. right? And I was like, man, there's something unique about him, man. Who's that? Who is that? You know, like
Right.
that. I was like, they
Right.
said, yeah, that's Ben. And then I remember, somewhere down the road, I remember something unique about not just you, but your family as you got older. And I remember I wanted to give you a job at the club. Say, hey, you want to work at the club? And then I don't know, you must have went home and told your mom. Your mom came back. She came to the club. She said, "Oh, is there Mr. Moore here?" You know, like, oh, I'm Mr. Moore, like that. Oh yeah, Ben said you wanted to work. I said, yeah, like he's good kid. Work. He said, look, he don't do his schoolwork.
It ain't happening, right?
Yeah, he will not be working here. So you tell him that for me. Not like she didn't tell you already, you know. So
Right.
yeah, I have three important questions I start out the show with, right? So the three is talking about your mom, talking about family. So talk about growing up, your mom. I know your grandmother was important, your sister. Yeah, talk about your family growing up, man, and that whole experience. And not only that, but faith and education included in family, because I know that's something that they stress.
Right. So like many youths in our town, I grew up in like a kind of like I want to say broken home, not the typical family with grandfather, grandmother, dad, mom. It was like me, my mom, my aunt, my grandmother, my sister, and my cousin. And so I had to have attention to detail. I knew that I had to excel in school before anything. You know what I'm saying? I had to do my chores at home. I had to be a man of God. I had to, study the word. I had to be, someone of strong faith. So that's how I was raised. And then I think all those strong tenets that my mom and my grandmother instilled in me is what helped me to become a good basketball player, because everything that I applied in my day-to-day life, whether it be like school or Elijah, are you gonna help your brother? He needs some. You see me over here doing. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. How about that? Give me your phone. So here, look in the fridge. There's some fruit and stuff in it, and maybe give him something. So and clean up this mess. I don't know what all this came from. This is he just spilled that out, that orange juice. Sorry about that. Yeah, so
That's fatherly stuff.
Yeah. So it was like everything was faith-based for us and hard work. My grandmother worked as a nurse at nights. So and she took care of me during the day when my mom was at work, So I always saw the leaders of my household, which were, strong women that were rooted in, their spirituality as Christians, and their work ethic, and like having a moral compass, and representing the family when we left the house and things of that nature. So it was great. I learned a lot, and a lot of the lessons that they taught me have kept me throughout my life now, and it allowed me to excel and be a great basketball player, a great student, and a great example in the community of how to I guess like impact change when you come back. And then like you were monumental in my life, because I didn't grow up with my dad or anything like that, and then also like nobody in my family plays sports, so like that combination of like the things that were instilled into my home when I was younger, and then
yeah, you can pick up little man. You can bring him up. Sometimes he may need a hug.
Yeah, I don't know. Come here. Bring him. Come here, Lexi. Lux, come. Come here. Come here, baby boy. What's wrong? What's the matter? I think it's nap time. He's tired. Yeah.
I remember I had a Hill Hopper on, right?
Mm-hmm.
His son just kept appearing out of the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what he wants. He want to play. He want to sleep. He wants some juice. But yeah, man. So like growing up in that way, I think it really prepared me for a world that's not always favorable to you. And you know, I didn't have a silver spoon. You know, I had to learn things through experience and a hard way at times. And you know, I wouldn't trade my upbringing for anything, man. I think it made me who I am today. You know. What's his cup at with the juice and stuff? What you in a bad mood for? Oh, because you can't play on your phone?
No, because I don't know what he wants.
So what is that bothering you for? That ain't your responsibility. I said just to help him out a little bit.
So you got the two.
I don't know what to help him out with.
Say that again? Yeah,
So
I got two of the three right now.
Yeah.
I got the youngest and I got the oldest. So.
Yeah, how's that working out?
It's good, man. We went to the gym last night and got some work in. I'm in California right now, so
okay.
We enjoying the weather. You know, one is 10 and one is 3. So you know it's a little bit of a gap. What's wrong?
Right. So how is it to be single father?
Yeah, being a single dad is cool, man, and it's not easy, but you know I think I use basketball as like a bonding type of thing. You know, it's like I'm able to you know bring them to the gym, bring them around the game. Hold on, let me see if I could come over here a little bit. Yeah, I try to use the game to like bond with them and you know teach them about life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you did, you know. Like we would have those talks and stuff in your office, and when you would talk about the game being 90% mental. When you would talk about the game being 90% mental and 10% physical, a lot of times, like that's how life is. You know, you try to do all these different things, and sometimes you just got to sit and be still and let God communicate with you. You know, you got to meditate on things and you got to think your way through things, or you'll find yourself through, you know, a lot of different cycles repeating the same mistakes.
Right.
So, come here, buddy. Yeah, so
he looked like he ready to take a nap.
Yeah, he ready to take a nap. Oh, let me see if he wants to lay down real quick. Might make him a little happier. Oh, see that? That's a seasoned father right there. As soon as I put him up under the covers, he just, all right, you get me comfortable now. Hold on. Let me see. Give him a little juice in his cup. He'll be all right. But yeah, man. Man, there's so many. As I'm on the phone with you now, I'm thinking about all the workouts you used to put me through on those like Saturday mornings. I remember. Now I wasn't saying much. Or I wasn't complaining, but I definitely was thinking like, man, why does Lowe's have us doing all left-handed drills, or why can't I use my right hand? You know, why is he making us do this? You know. And then you were working like other parts of our brain. You know, like. You were making us think outside the box. You were putting us at different positions and showing us that you have to be multifaceted. You can't be one-dimensional as a player, you know, or, you know, through a lot of our conversation as a man, because it wasn't you were about building the overall person. You know, you weren't just like looking at us as strictly basketball players or you know, anything like that. You kind of were developing us to be well-rounded people, and you know, like those experiences are some of my fondest basketball memories because it was like I was really learning the game. You know, like a lot of times now you put people into programs or things like that, and it's just like a cookie cutter. They just have everybody doing the same drills, but you're not really like learning like the minute and subtle details of the game that can take you to the next level. So
Yeah.
it was great, man. It was great. Here, put that in the fridge.
Yeah, and you know, Mr. Jones, who helped me out, man, he was always outside that box, so he made me outside that box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Clyde said hello, man.
Oh yeah, Clive. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you know what's so funny? I actually ran into one of his cousins in Chicago one day. I was walking down the street, right? And I see a dude from like a block away. He got a New York Yankee hat on. So, you know, in Chicago, I don't really see too many people walking around with Yankee hats on. So he's walking, and then as he get like a few yards away from me, he's like, I notice he's looking at me. And then I'm looking at him, so I'm like, I see a black dude on the street. What's up, bro? You know, like nod of respect or whatever. And then he's looking at me, and he's like, "Hey, man, you been? I'm Clyde's cousin. You know, I'm Clyde's cousin." And, you know, so it was good. Tell Clyde, I said, "What's up, man?"
Yeah, he can
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, talk a little bit about you know, getting into, you know, starting to play, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because you know we got together a little bit later, but you know, starting to play from middle school into your high school experience.
Well, like I said, the way I learned the game, obviously growing up on the south side of Mount Vernon, a couple blocks away from the Boys and Girls Club. No one in the family plays sports, so I grew up across the street from a park on 8th Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just go and observe guys, you know. I would just watch them, and then I would mimic them, you know, or like, you know, like pay attention to their moves until I was good enough to get on the court with them. So I learned that way, which I think was an advantage because I didn't start playing with children my age. I started playing with like older cats. And it gave me like a certain moxie or like a chip on my shoulder that will help me in years to come. And then the next evolution of my learning curve was like going to the Boys and Girls Club, meeting you, and then you just, you know, you were like Professor X or something. And you were very cerebral, you know, like I always just remember sitting there and we would have these deep conversations, and I would just kind of be like in a daze, like, wow, like, you know, like everything you were saying was so stimulating to my mind at that age. And I was just taking it all in, soaking it all up. And then so from there, my next stage was to play on a team, 7th grade. You know, like that was my first organized team, playing with St. Ursula, 7th and 8th grade in Mount Vernon. And like all those different stages really prepared me to play, you know, as a freshman on the varsity at Mount Vernon High School, which was like
Yeah,
a big thing, you know, because that's a
yeah,
story program. And, you know, playing as a freshman, varsity as a freshman was a big deal, you know.
it was a big deal.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's a big deal, you know. And so, you know, like I would always say I was a student of the game. You know, I think that's what separated me is I knew about a lot of history of the game. And as I was coming up, I noticed like there were a lot of talented players in Mount Vernon, that Bronx area that I always came across, but they just didn't stick with it. You know, like they didn't, you know, like from year to year try to get better, or like they would have a lapse or they would plateau. And because I was always looking at, you know, watching the games, looking at newspaper clippings, studying stats, talking to you, I always knew there was I could continue to get better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I had like a vision that was years ahead of me. And so because of that vision and like having people along the way that would, kind of like water, my curiosity for the game like it was a plant, it just helped me to continue to grow and, made me into the player I was, and gave me like a strong foundation of what you had to do to be successful and the steps that you needed to take if you wanted to get to the next level. And so, like, before I even got to the NBA, I already knew I wanted to win a championship. I already knew I wanted to be an all-star. I already knew I wanted to break certain records that, guys had. I had like all these things in my mind already. I wasn't coming in there empty-minded. I had like a list of things that I wanted to accomplish. And, playing 11 years in the NBA, I didn't get to all of those things, but
Right.
the fact that I set my goals and my sights high, I was able to land, have a good career that I could look back and be happy about. And like, nobody has a perfect career, like some guys play too long. Like I heard Dirk Nowitzki the other day, he played 20 something seasons, right? And I heard him saying like, oh man, now I can't really walk. I can't, play with my son because he has these foot injuries. And he was saying, man, maybe I should have played 2 less years, and I would have had, been able to, have a better career afterwards. I remember talking to Kobe, rest his soul, maybe about 3 years ago or so, and I was asking him, so how are you enjoying retirement? And he was like, man, I love it. I wish I would have retired 5 years earlier. So, like every professional athlete that I know, they either wish they played longer or played less, So that's the thing about sports. It's like, because we grow up so young and playing and loving the game, we never really know when it's going to stop for us,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a thing that you always love the game, but at some point your body is not going to be able to hold up, or your mind, or whatever it is. And you're going to have to, live regular life and deal with reality, because it's just a game.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot of great experiences, coming up. And that was pretty much how it started. In the park, then going to the Boys and Girls Club, then playing CYO in 7th or 8th grade, then the varsity, and then, collegiate and pro, So it was great experiences all along the way.
Yeah, and I think when I remember, I don't know if you remember, but I remember you stopped by the club. I think you had played your freshman year. I think you had played your sophomore year. And when you get on varsity, the schedule gets crazy. So
Yeah.
you kind of lose track with the club and all different things going like that. But I remember you showing up. I remember you showing up one after your sophomore year, and you came in and said, "Hey, what do you think of my game?" And I was like, well, you got experience, like,
Right.
you like, I got experience. I'm doing good. I said, yeah, you got a little from your freshman year, sophomore year, you got better because you got experience. You like, what do you mean? What do you mean like that? He's like, I say, okay. I said, okay, well, tell me what a freshman in college plays like. He's like, I don't know. I ain't in college, So,
Right.
So I said, well, you got to live it. You got to live it where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to ask yourself the question: what does a freshman and sophomore in college do that you're not doing right now? Right, and then by the time you become a freshman or sophomore, you should be playing like a junior, senior.
I remember that conversation.
Yeah,
I remember that vividly.
Yeah, and by the time you a junior, if you ain't going to the league, right, you ain't going.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then
look,
like,
and that conversation, it created another sense of urgency. Like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I'm supposed to be playing I'm supposed to be ahead of everybody that's in my class right now. And even outside of my class, I'm supposed to be playing like guys so I was like, wow, like that tripped me out when you talk. I remember that conversation. I was like, whoa. Like, I thought about that for a while. And Then
and
I
you said,
knew.
I'm going, what should I do about the circuit? Remember, it was the AAU circuit.
Yeah.
I said, oh no, you can go on the circuit. What do you think about that? I said, but you can go on the circuit, but if you're not training, you're not working on your game, then you know you're not really improving. You're just playing. You know,
Right. Right.
he's like, what should I do? I said, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You know, because there's you know, side effects to when you say something.
Right.
Because
Right.
if you don't go on the circuit, then you're not you know, they're not going to choose you for McDonald's, right? But and we had that discussion about that. And then what happens if you didn't go on the circuit and you work out? I mean, the result is to be a good college basketball player and to get ready for that. Yeah. So yeah, and you made a choice and you started working out. I mean, I don't think you got to McDonald's, but
well, the thing is, right? I played 2 years of AAU with. At the time, I played with Riverside Church, right? So I took what you said into consideration. You didn't make the decision for me. You just gave me the information. And then me thinking about my future, I said, okay. You know, like I valued your word more than anybody, my coach, anybody, because I'm like, here's somebody who is from my city. He made it to college. He made it to the NBA. Like, I'm going to listen to everybody else got to say. But when Lowe's speak, I'm taking that and I'm going home and I'm doing some extra thinking about that. So I remember I played like maybe like 2 years. And then after my junior year, I'm like, okay. I noticed like something with the circuit. I'm like, I'm playing, but I'm not really like, I'm not playing as much as I normally play on my high school team, or like, there's like certain favoritism or like politics. I started to see these different politics going on. So then like once I got an offer from UCONN, I'm like, okay, boom, got my college scholarship. Now I don't have to be on the circuit no more. I already got what I was working for because of that thing you put in my mind of like, you know, preparing yourself for ahead of time. So once I achieved that, I thought I was good. I wasn't even thinking about high school accolades. And I had, you know, we had a good high school team. I thought, you know, I was the New York State Player of the Year. I thought I was automatically going to be a lock. My junior year, I was New York State Player of the Year. I thought I was going to be a lock for the McDonald's game. So I wasn't really thinking about the circuits and all that type of stuff. And so, yeah, of course, it's political, right? Which you kind of got to go through that phase to really know and understand it. And I didn't make the McDonald's game. And that was something I wanted to make. But I had to realize, like, no, this work that you're putting in is going to pay dividends in the future. So I was okay with my decision. And I let, you know, kind of being snubbed or being overlooked, I let that, you know, like, have an extra little chip on my shoulder, some extra fuel for the fire, which I needed. And it worked in my favor, you know. So I was glad I made that decision. And it's something that I'm able to, like, even with my kids now, like, my oldest is 10, and like because of who I am, everybody's like, "Oh, I got this AAU team for him to play on."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Look, man, like we just need to work on your fundamentals right now, and get like a foundation, so when you go out there on the court, you can do what you want to do." Everybody right now is creating all this noise. Everybody wants you to play here and there, but I'm like, "Look, man, you just got to fall in love with the game, and then you know, work on your skill set, and all these things will be there, you know." So that was important because a lot of, and I think because of my maturity at that age, I was able to make that decision and realize like, okay, I could be giving up some, you know, notoriety or publicity and things like that, but I knew that, like you said, if you're not training, you know, it's not gonna really matter in the end anyway.
Yeah. And then you go to UConn, man, and just I know you weren't happy in the beginning, you know, because you was coming off the bench. Nobody's happy you were coming off the bench.
Right.
But, you know, and we had the conversation about like, look, once you get in the game, man, don't let them take you out, you know.
Right.
So it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish it.
How you finish the game.
And so your freshman sophomore year, man, you just started just to ball out. I'll tell you what Coach Calhoun said to me one day when I was up at the game. And he came over. He said, "Hey, Lowe's, what's up, man?" You know, like that. I was having a conversation with him. He's like, "Hey, man, man, Ben did a great job as a young man. I heard you helped him out, so forth and so on." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, Ben is the first guy I had in 10 years I didn't have to reteach." And I was like, yeah, he came in fundamentally sound. He his mental part of the game, and he said so many guys play in the AAU and stuff like that, and they don't train and they don't work on the fundamentals of the game. They don't understand the game. So now they come in, you don't have time to reteach these guys.
Nah, man. You know what they do? They recruit over you.
Yeah.
Like you said, they don't got time to reteach you, so they're just gonna recruit somebody who plays the same position as you, who might get it a little bit more than you, and it's so funny because I remember Talik Brown was our starting point guard, right? And Coach Calhoun was like, "Yeah, man, we got another point guard coming in. His name is Marcus Williams. He's an excellent passer, and if Talik don't get you the ball, Marcus will." Right? So, and by the way, Talik kept his starting spot the whole time, but it was just that competitiveness and like that sense of urgency that you had to have, or you was gonna get replaced. So I'm glad, man, that he didn't have to reteach me, because every year I'm noticing like, wait a minute, man, I'm doing pretty good, but you keep recruiting guys that's like the same position as me and that can really play. So I'm like, oh, okay, like this how this goes, it's like you can never relax.
Oh no, you definitely can't take your eye off the ball, man. Yeah, because there's another player coming out right behind you. So yeah, man, that was. And Clyde said you were the hard when he was coaching there. You were the hardest worker there, man.
Yeah,
that's a great compliment. So yeah, and so y'all go on. What was it like? And did you know that you guys potentially had the team that could win the NCAA championship?
Okay, so after my sophomore year, I think we lost in the Sweet 16. Because my first year we went Elite 8, and then my second year we lost Sweet 16. And I remember after that season, I was looking at our team and I'm like, wait a minute, man. Like, if everybody comes back, I think we can. Matter of fact, I know we could win this championship. I know we could. And so at the same time, I was starting to hear like whispers of, yo, man, you can enter the draft this year. You'll be this, that, and the third. So I'm like, I definitely want to get to the NBA, but man, I feel like I'm maybe one more year. And then I remember talking with Emeka. Emeka could have entered the draft as well. He was my roommate. And he had no plan. He was like, nope, I'm going to finish my education in 3 years, because he was a really bright guy. And he's like, then I'm going to be done. So I'm like, all right, my big man is coming back. I was like, one more year, I think we'll be the number one team. And so I knew. And then like that summer, we trained hard all the time, but like we trained with an intention of winning the championship the next year. And I think we were one of the first teams that started the season ranked number one and finished number one, and that just was just like a testament of our focus over that course of period of time, and setting that goal and like just working for it every single day, in the summer, in the fall, and obviously throughout the season. So like I knew after my freshman year of playing with like Karan Butler and like seeing him go pro, then I knew like, oh, okay, I'm good enough to be a pro. I can make it, And then after my sophomore year, I'm like, nah, we can win the championship. And then after that, it was, I knew I was going after that. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, shoot. And everybody was taking the ride with you, man. I mean, that was
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I mean, again, like winning. I think my first year when I started coaching with the high school team,
Mm-hmm.
right, and then we ended up going like undefeated that year,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. 28-0.
Yeah, win the
Mm-hmm.
win the county, win
I
the
heard the high school is 20-0 right now.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they
Some things never
they got.
change.
I know they got a guy who's like maybe 6'6" and a guy who's 6'7", and then they get all little guys. They're around the same height, and they quick like
Uh-huh.
lightning. Yeah, they everywhere you go, they
Oh,
there.
okay.
And they starting to shoot the ball. That's what they did real well this year. Is they actually shot the ball well. This year.
Okay.
Yeah, they shooting well.
Good,
So
man.
I'm expecting them to win the county.
Nice.
And yeah, it's going to be a great, to see that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll win the championship, right? You go, and
Yeah.
then you make a decision to go into the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the thought process, and were you excited? And I think we all dreamed about walking across that stage and the and the commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
shakes your hand and gives you the hat.
Right. Always had that dream. That was yeah, so it was like all these things that I accomplished, I had like thought about them like years in advance. We had conversations about them, it was like kind of like, you just auditioning for a role and you slowly just walking it down and, praying, manifesting these things, visualizing them until they become a reality.
Right.
And what I noticed was because I had that focus and that foresight, it like accelerated me past everybody, because I don't think anybody else was thinking like that. I don't think
Yeah.
people were thinking. I don't know if there were other people in college that were thinking the way I was thinking and like as focused as I was, like
Yeah.
I really sacrificed a lot of hanging out, a lot of partying. Like I just always had a strong work ethic. Learn how to work smart and hard. And I remember I was projected to go between like 7 and 12. And then during the course of my workouts, every team I would go to, they would just be like, man, like, we never seen nobody work out like this. Or like they were, like, we only seen like one other, maybe one other guy have a performance. Like I was hearing that a lot. And I'm just like, okay, like, so whatever I'm doing is okay. And I knew that it was just that foundation of like training and understanding that like as long as you train, your skills will bring you, your skills will bring you to where you need to go. And there might be politics along the way, but skills always win. Like I was able to prove that to myself so many times over the years that that's where I got my confidence from as a player. Like it was just like the work ethic and the things that I put in. And it was a great ride, man. It was a great ride. It's so many life lessons,
Right.
from the game of basketball, being able to use the game as a tool to do other things. Like even now, like right now I'm retired, right? I never really officially retired because it's like I still got that itch. Even though I'm not playing, it's like I still like, nah, I ain't ready to really retire yet. Like it's like I
Right.
still got that itch, But all the things that I've done in the past, it still can be used as a tool today to get into different doors or like, explore different opportunities. And it's just with any craft you have, like anytime you put your heart and soul into something, it's a tool, right? It's a gift from the creator, but it's a tool that can open other doors for you. So it's like you know, that's a great thing about the game of basketball. It's like it just always keeps giving. You know, like this is like the gift that just keeps on giving. And I think that's because it was my true passion. And I didn't necessarily do it for the money. I did it because I wanted to perfect my craft and I wanted to be the best version of myself. And, you know, I'm still able to reap the benefits of that today.
Yeah. And what are you some of the things you're doing currently besides being a dad?
Well, like I'm an investor into like different companies and things like that, and so I just kind of just like invest and look at certain deals, like venture capital stuff, and things that interest me, and things that you know like I can put my money to, and it'll keep my money working for me. But I'm still actually searching now for like that next thing. And the thing that opens me up the most, like that I'm the happiest doing, is still just like player development. You know, like whether it be working with a younger player or, you know, working with my son or, you know, talking to guys that are trying to prepare for the draft, things like that. So I'm not really doing anything in particular right now that's like focused where it's like scheduled and I got this and I got that. I'm just kind of living life and, you know, keeping my mental health and my peace first. But it's like I'm in that stage of where I'm trying to find that niche thing, like whether it be player development or whatever it is, where I can like focus and kind of like ride that out. Again, like the same way I was focused on basketball for like 20 years straight. I'm looking for that next thing that can just take me kind of like into the future where I can have that passion and work really hard at it and, you know, become great at that. So I'm still kind of like searching right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, because even with myself, like, you know, after I finish playing and then just trying to find your next niche. You know, I found the Boys and Girls Club for 27 years and then eventually retiring. And last year, you know, I got into this whole entrepreneurship thing and program and completed it and, you know, working on Lowe's More Global Communications through you know, speaking and consulting and, you know, doing coaching and stuff like that. Trying to grow it. Yeah. So it's hard sometimes trying to find the next niche,
Right, right.
you know. And so yeah. So yeah, you'll find it, you
Yeah,
know.
and the thing is too, like I talk to some of my friends that coach and do assistant coaching. They're like, I love what I'm doing, man, but it's, you know, it's like 16-hour days.
Yeah,
And
no.
so like for me being a single father, like my time is very valuable. Like just being able to have my boys here and be able to travel to go see them when I want, that's very valuable to me. If I wasn't in the situation I was in, I probably would be with a team, coaching, you know, like helping the team chase that, you know, that trophy. But for me right now, it's like as these my boys are growing up, just being able to be free to have some wiggle room to go visit them, like that's more valuable to me right now. So I'm still trying to navigate that and figure out how I can still chase my passion, but then like have that freedom too. And I'm not really ready to sacrifice that yet, so that's why I haven't like totally committed to doing anything like with a particular organization or like even for myself, because I know that once I put my name behind something, I'm gonna have to, you know, be there every single day and, you know, all the time. And like you said, entrepreneurship, shoot, if you're running your own thing, you're gonna have to work like 18-hour days most of the time anyway, because it's yours, you know, like if you're working with somebody else, you know, yeah, you can maybe do 9 to 5 or like do it part-time, but I'm real big on like whatever I put my energy into, I need to love it, I need to be passionate about it, and I need to be fully committed to it, or else I'm just gonna, you know, probably not, you know, take that on right away.
Yeah. Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your mom, but I want to have a pop-up guest on here.
Okay.
Coach Ferrantino over here.
Coach. Whoa, my man. I ain't seen you in years. How you doing, man?
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, man. I used to love, man, coming to Miami. You helped me have a lot of good games because I always knew Mount Vernon was in the house even when I was on the road.
You know, Lowe's, when I first met him at a game, I went up to him when he was in Chicago the first year, and I introduced myself. He goes, I heard about you. I know all about you. I said, don't believe a word of it. Don't believe a word of it. No, but you know, it's great. If he played against everybody else the way he played against the Heat, he'd be in the Hall of Fame right now. We had a game in Chicago. I know you remember this, Ben, where, you know, we were good. We were a good team. And Ben had 25 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
He was so hot. He made a 3-pointer from the left corner. You remember that?
Yeah, well,
skimmed off the backboard. He was so hot.
I remember that. And Coach Skiles was like, "Oh."
Made a jumper from the 3-pointer from the left corner off the backboard,
off the glass.
That's how hot he was.
Yeah.
You know, Lowe's, I'm sure you said this, but he's the only player in the long history of, I don't know how long they've had the Best Sixth Man Award. It's been a while. He's the only one to win it as a rookie. Best Sixth Man in the NBA.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. He should have won. He won Sixth Man, but he should have won Rookie of the Year too.
Right.
No doubt.
And I'm still confused to this day. I'm saying, like, wait, how did I win the Sixth Man of the Year, but not the Rookie of the Year? I'm like, oh, man.
Who won that award, Ben, that year?
My roommate, Emeka Okafor. So I didn't feel too bad because we were roommates at UConn.
Yeah.
And Charlotte was at that time, it was an expansion team. So I'm like, maybe they wanted to give some notoriety to the city. I'm like, that's all right, man. That's my boy. Like, anybody else, though, man, I would have been up and on.
No, I hear you.
Well, you know, it's hard because he was out like half the season.
Right.
But you know what's great about Ben is that he always carried himself really well. And he not just a really good player, but he was very well respected as a person in the league. Which, you know, I always, whenever we played against him, my producer and my on-air partner, they gave me over and under 3 times mentioning Mount Vernon. And you know, it's funny. I met Kendrick Nunn when he was came to the Heat. His first public appearance was at our camp that I run, the Heat camp. And I said to him, you know, I know about Simeon High School. Ben Wallace went many years ago. You know, the young man tragically was killed. And I know the guys that have come out of Simeon. And I said, Kendrick, you know, I'm from a pretty good high school myself. He goes, which one? I said, Mount Vernon. He goes, I know about Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
So, you know, Mount Vernon is known nationally, man.
Yes, sir.
Ben helped keep that alive, too.
Yes, he did. He did a great job at it. Yeah.
Really cool. And what are you doing now, Ben? I know I thought you were on 3. That's right. Go ahead.
Right now, man, I'm on daddy duty. You know, I got 3 boys. Yeah, so
3 boys?
Yeah, I'm just enjoying them, man. I'm gonna probably bring one. My oldest is 10. I'm gonna bring him to the gym later on, and
oh wow, that's
let him get some shots up. And I'm just like kind of living vicariously through him, and I'm just enjoying life, man. I'm not living a real stress-free life.
You deserve it. You've earned it, man.
Yeah, and I'm doing like working with guys from time time to time, like younger players, just giving them some words and like helping them out behind the scenes. But I think like at this rate, because my son is 10 now, I think I'm probably gonna go into like player development. I can see myself doing that like full time. I'm not there yet, but right now I'm doing it with my son, so that's probably gonna be the next step for me.
Well, one of the things you did better than other people was, a right-handed player would rather go left than shoot the jumper. Right. You were the opposite, I think. I think you were better going right, shooting the jumper off the dribble. That's a little unusual. You think about that, Lowe's. Lowe's, it's like you going left shooting the J or going right shooting the J. Mm-hmm. In my experience working with players, that they're much better going to the opposite hand, squaring up and shooting it. But Ben was so good going right to shoot the J and he got such elevation on his shot. I'm sure you're gonna be teaching your boys that.
Yeah, man, I'm teaching them that. It's in their DNA, so they just got to watch the film and
Well, you know what
put
happens.
the effort in.
What happens is that a right player. Most of the time, when you guard them, you want to send them left. You taught, hey,
Yeah.
send them left,
That's right.
and then so you spend more time going left because people keep pushing you left, and you become very good at pulling up, going left, right? And one thing about Ben, in terms of his repetition, he always had a balance of going left and right.
Right.
So yeah, he once he crossed under you and explode to that. We used to talk about hit that straight line, hit that spot and explode, bam.
Right.
Well, what was unusual about him with the scouting report after watching him play a few times is that I scouted for the Heat for many years. You write down if a guy can go right or left, what does he do? Most right-handed players, you want to force them left, as you said, Lowe's. They like to pull up for the J because they can't finish going left. But Ben was very good finishing going left.
Yeah,
that's why he was so difficult to guard, because he could shoot the J off the dribble right. He could beat you going right, and he can beat you off the dribble going to the basket left.
Right.
Pretty good scouting report there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's why he was so difficult to stop. You were like a combo guard. You weren't a point guard. You're really a two. Because you were a scorer.
Right.
And as an opponent, I'd be sitting there, hoping that you get like 40 in the game and Miami wins the game. That's what I was hoping. But
hey, that happened a couple times.
Yeah, 25 in one quarter. You were kicking off back.
Well.
And I used to love playing against D Wade, man. Yeah. D Wade was so tough, man, but he brought the best out of me, man.
Yeah, Dwayne, I thought was at his best playing the passing lane.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to one-on-one.
Right.
He was good one-on-one, but he was better in the passing lane.
And he got better defensively as the game went on. So third or fourth quarter, it's like the stuff you were doing in the first two quarters. He'd be like, all right, go ahead. Yeah. Then he would just explode. He was just explosive, man. He would pounce into that passing lane. And he like, oh man, I thought you was gonna relax that play, D Wade.
It was like that. Bill Russell. Bill Russell, in one of his books that he wrote, talked about how he let a guy take a shot earlier in the game, thinking that he couldn't get to it, and then when the game was on the line, he'd block it. Yep. On a fast break. I'm sure Lowe's remembers that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, Coach, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
I know you want to pop on.
You, thanks.
Great to see you too, Tony.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you.
You're great, man. I'm glad I get.
Hey, next time, are you still in Miami?
Oh yeah, I'm still working for the Heat. I'm in the community. We just did a clinic this morning.
So, nice. Next time I'm down there, I gotta stop by, man.
Lowe's has my number. You gotta call me.
I'll give it to you.
All right.
I'll let you take me to dinner.
All right. All right.
Take care, guys.
All right, Coach.
All right, man. Take care, Coach.
Yeah. I got a couple of questions. Don't we have a couple of questions up there? I saw a couple of
good.
Yeah, give me a couple of questions. It says Harry St. John III.
Okay.
Yeah,
what advice do you have for 8th and 9th graders who are fringe players? Well, 8th and 9th graders who are fringe players who are like on the cusp of like being really good or like really making the team or like.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say fringe players?
Like they on the cusp, they have potential.
They got potential, right?
Yeah.
My advice for them would be is to kind of do what I did, like I would lock in on my skill development, and first of all, they got to be honest with themselves. If they're a fringe player, they got to be able to take constructive criticism well and not, let it fold them. A lot of times when you get to telling the player what they can't do, they might take that to heart and let it damage their psyche. But, I would go and talk to Lowe's all the time, and he would tell me things like, oh, yeah, you all right. You got some experience, but you got to be playing at this level. And so early on, that was like a little bit of a shot to my ego. Like, wait a minute. I thought I was the man, And it was like, Nah, man, you got there's other levels you can go to. So for a French player who's on the cusp, you got potential. You have to realize that potential. You gotta, work smart, harder. You gotta watch film. You gotta do basically things that the other 8th and 9th graders are not doing to separate yourself. And I don't know what that might be. It's gonna vary for every player. Like some players, it might just be they need to do more conditioning. Some players, it might be they need to get more repetitions up. It could be different things, but you got to just put a plan together and get with someone if you can, like Lowe's, who has your best interest, who doesn't have like a convoluted interest, who's going to tell you things that's gonna help you going forward and like into your future. That's the best advice I could give you because like that's what worked for me.
Yeah, I think to add to that is that somebody to give you an honest evaluation
Mm-hmm.
of your
What's on,
skill set,
baby?
and then put together a plan that will help you take you to that next level. I think that's important. You know, that's Will Rogers.
He said that sound like Lowe's.
Oh man,
Uh-huh.
and I think we had was
Please talk about how you need to carry yourself on and off the court. You want to get that one, Lowe's, or should I?
No, you got it.
Okay, so on the court, right? You need to carry yourself on and off the court with a level of professionalism, right? And at that age, as a high school player, you're trying to get to a varsity team or you're trying to get to a college team. So you have to carry yourself as a young professional, someone who's about business. You got to be mindful of who you're around, who you're placing yourself around, the company you keep. You got to be about your business. You got to be academically.
I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Be right or don't have your go straight to the pros or something like that. You got to take your academics seriously. And right, you got to have self-respect. So when you're outside, you got to know like, okay, I'm trying to accomplish something. I'm trying to, get to a certain level, and you have to move accordingly,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's all important information right there. You got to take that that advice, and you got to. One of the hardest things I think with people, and where I never really had a heart with Ben was, is like whenever you say something to him, he somehow in his mind he used to generate the practical aspect of it. So when you're saying something or giving a plan to him, he knew how to take that plan and make it an application. He could actually mentally and physically just do that. And I think that's the hardest thing for people to do is hear the information and then make it a practical application. How do I actually do this? I think that's important. So yeah. Any other? So you got.
What do you do with parents who think their kid is better than they are, and you try to tell them what they need to work on? Well, their parents are always going to be their parents, right? So it's going to have to be the kid or the person that is that needs to make the improvements and stuff. They need to know that, okay, who am I getting this advice from? Your mom and dad is always going to love you, and they're always going to tell you you're great no matter what, right? So that's probably not the first person you want to take all your information, your constructive criticism from, because they're biased. So you got to go to someone, like we said before, who's going to be honest with you, like Lowe said, who's going to have your best interests and don't mind telling you the truth. You know, I think it's hard these days because we're in an era now where everybody just want to hear, you know, what they can do, and they want people to gloat over them. But if you're really trying to get better, you know that you got to hear some tough, you got to get some tough love and be able to apply what they're saying. So it's like a two-way street. You got to be able to take the information and apply it accordingly.
It looks like he woke up.
Yeah. And then you got to be able to know who to seek the right information from. Like, can't be coming from like a biased source. Let me put little man in the bed again.
Yeah. And then how's your mom and your sister doing, man?
My mom and my sister, they're doing well. My mom is doing good. My sister, she got her 4 kids now. They're all doing well.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they getting tall too, man. I got some twin nephews and they like 6'4" now.
What?
I'm like, what the? But they're not hooping or nothing like that. They into other stuff, like, but I'm like, man, y'all might want to reconsider.
Where did time go?
Right. Time is flying, man. They feet is bigger than mine. I try to give them some shoes and they can't even fit them no more. So I'm like, oh man. Yeah. So the family's doing well. We still keep our house in Mount Vernon. I'm always back there, but I just go visit the fam and spend time with them. But everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's cool. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that we're looking at some old pictures here.
Oh yeah. Who's that? Me, you, and
Gus.
Who's that in the middle? Oh, and Gus, yeah.
Yeah, we pray
3 the hard way.
3 the hard way. Gus, I heard, I had a little report on Gus. He had been doing a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
He's moved from the bed to he's also now in a wheel. I heard he was in able to get in a wheelchair and stuff like that.
Okay, that's good, man.
And so he's in a really intense rehabilitation process right now.
Mm-hmm.
So so we keep praying for him. I'm hoping then either end of this month or March, taking a ride down there to see Gus.
Where's he spending most of his time at now?
Well, he's in Columbia,
in South Carolina,
Columbia, Maryland.
Oh, Maryland.
I think he's in a rehab center over there.
Okay.
Dakari down here saying, you still wear the same size?
No matter what size it is, I wear your size.
Oh man. Yeah.
What's up, champ?
And so look at that. You got JB and all
Smooth.
John Stocks, Wes Matthews. You back. What's that? That's the boxer. What's his name? George George Clooney or something like that. Yeah.
The one that's the guy that's next to you?
Yeah, with the glasses.
Okay.
He's the boxer. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, this has been awesome, man. I do appreciate you coming on. Hey, and what do you think about the whole All-Star? This is the All-Star tonight's the All-Star game. What do you think about the last few All-Star games? They different than when I grew up, man.
I'm gonna be honest, Lowe's. Like, since they started doing it where they're like picking teams, I kind of like don't really follow it as closely as I used to, because it's just like that East versus West used to seem like it meant more. Like now it's like guys are picking where it's just kind of like a pickup game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to focus on it today, but normally it's not like how it was when I was growing up in the 90s, and it was like you know, and when you were coming up, it was a little bit more intense, I think. But now, you know, I don't know, it's still entertaining, but it's just not the same. Don't got the
It's
same
not,
feel.
because it used to be like the West hated the East,
Exactly.
right? And like it's always a rivalry. Who's gonna win the most between the East and the West? Yeah, I don't really like it, you know, because dudes didn't really like each other, man, during during the
Right,
season.
right. Now
So
everybody's so friendly.
yeah,
Like I even remember like coming up, like I would do my workouts, and I didn't want to work out with other players like that. You know, I wanted to like come back and like be better than those guys. I wasn't trying to like train with them, unless it was like, you know, helping me sharpen my skills. But it was just more competitive. I wasn't like, you know, it's different now. But I guess this is the age we in now. Social media, like everybody kind of knows each other. It's easier to keep up with guys, and you know, so it's a lot different.
yeah. I know my wife is she's gonna join us, and here's a funny thing for all you guys out there. When you talk about getting to your next level, man, you got to be able to want to put in the work,
Yeah.
right? And so I offered a number of times for people to come work out.
Pass me the fruit.
For people to come work out, man. When Ben was younger, even before Ben, after Ben, you
Did they
offer
come?
people.
Were they coming?
No, they wouldn't come. I mean, that's why you went where you went, and that's why they where they are. So, you offer them to come and work out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say to them, for you, I remember saying to you one time, he said, and this was the craziest thing. We had worked on, I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning before the day of the game, right? And we're working on
that
some
one,
stuff.
the new one.
And I was trying to tell you, man, you got a kick in your shot. I was like, I'm gonna remove the kick, right?
Right.
And I think we removed that kick in one morning. I think it was like 2 hours, and I had you just like shooting a natural shot from about 30, 40 feet, just no kick, and we played against New Rochelle, and I think you had 40 points.
Yeah.
And the game was tied or something like that with New Rochelle Gym, and you just pulled up from like half court, like a regular jump shot, hit nothing but net, right? Hit nothing but net. And when you hit it, you turn around, and look like, what happened? Like that. It was like that wax on, wax off, crazy. Like what? Oh, and then you start going crazy. Like, we got to get in the gym. I'm like, what? And I could never. The craziest part was I pride myself if I'm gonna work out with somebody or coach a team, I at least had to be at the minimum an hour before it started.
Right.
Because I had to have preparation. And I would arrive at the club. I don't care what time it was, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6, whatever it was in the morning. And I get there and you're standing there. I'll be thinking like, man, did Ben sleep outside last night? I could not beat you. I could not beat you to the gym. I said, how did he know that I was at 4 o'clock in the morning? I'm getting there at 3. There you standing there. I said, what? That was the craziest thing.
Yeah, man. I know I was punctual back then because I'm like, look, Lowe's is doing me a favor. Like, he's opening the club for me at this morning. I gotta show him my appreciation by being prompt on time. I gotta be there. And I look forward to it, like I was really appreciating all those lessons you were giving me and that time you were spending because I was hungry, like I don't understand, man, like how you could be offering people time, come to the gym and do this and they not taking that initiative to be there and learn from you, like.
Yeah, but my wife, I think she got a question over here. She's
all right.
She's the executive producer and all kinds of stuff.
Hey, babe.
How you doing? How you doing, Miss Moore?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Awesome. You already know I'm proud of you and everything you do. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
I remember many years ago, Lowe's and I had talked about when he came out of playing professional ball. When you're a professional athlete and you're on the field and people are cheering for you, right? Now you got to go back to like real life, right?
Right.
You go to work and you don't do something at work and people go, wow, oh, give him an A, give him a B.
Right, exactly.
It's like you gotta like learn.
Everything is more underwhelming. It's like, oh man, like what happened?
What do you think happens to players who like really have to transition from being kind of like the center of attention to being to living that normal life? How does that transition happen? And what would you say to, because you're talking about young kids becoming professional athletes, but what about professional athletes becoming regular citizens again? Because that's another transition.
I think most of them, right, and this happened to myself, if you don't have like a plan at the end of your career, first of all, it's very hard. You have to kind of know, okay, like my career is probably ending soon. I need to start preparing for the next stage. If you are not able to do that, and then you go into the real world and you realize like, okay, things are a little bit slower now. Like, everybody's not, celebrating me for every little thing I do. You can go through like a depression, or you can have like some setbacks mentally, and you can go through a lot of problems, and you're going to have to work through that at some point in time. So I would say for younger athletes, when we're growing up, you're not really supposed to put all your eggs in one basket, but let's be real. We all do that because that's how you get to that top level. But you always got to have something else, or like have a transition, like at least an idea of how you want to transition into your next phase of your career, or you're going to hit some hiccups. You're going to go through problems, and everybody's different. Like I can't like say that, oh, you have to do X, Y, and Z. It's just, you just got to figure it out as you go on your journey throughout life, and know what works for you. Like me, I know that I want to do player development or something in health, wellness, and fitness. Right now I'm enjoying the time with my boys, and they are taking priority over everything else. So I'm not ready to like fully dive into that yet, but I know. Most guys, they just, they try to recreate that adrenaline rush they get, and they get themselves into trouble. So I think it's really important that as you're transitioning towards the end of your career, which is hard because you never really know when it is, or even if you do know, you're in some type of denial. But you gotta have like some type of exit strategy. And like the best thing you can do is always be humble and grounded, so that when you do come down, it ain't that far of a drop. But most people, it's like you get that inflated ego, and you think you're on top of the world, and you're gonna get humble real quick. So
I would think the salaries from when Lowe's played to the salaries today make that drop much more significant, because you're going from a salary, and then to go into the real world, you might be doing something that's like 50,000, 60,000,
right.
and
You're never gonna make that money.
You're never gonna make that money, and sometimes that's such a drastic drop. That a lot of people are not prepared for it. Would you ever be interested in like working for an NBA team or the NBA about how to help professional athletes transition out of professional sports into regular life?
Well, they have the rookie transition program, like usually every fall for like incoming NBA rookies. And I would definitely love to be a part of that. But I think they need something that's like more ongoing, like all year round. And I would definitely be open to that, like, because I love talking to young guys, and like how Lowe's did for me, and like just giving them that advice, because like I see how far that can take somebody throughout their life, sharing your experiences with them. Everybody's not always going to listen, but there's going to be people who do take heed to the things you're saying, and like grasp some of the gems, and then it's going to help them. So I would definitely like work with a team, or like, work with a player directly, because like it's easy just to share your experiences, and you know, you never know what you might say that will help the player. So I just try to be honest with them and, you know, share some of my experiences and, you know, like so that they can have like a little bit of a roadmap to kind of like what they're gonna experience or what they're gonna go through. And it could be very helpful.
Wow. But thank you. I'm gonna let you go back to Lowe's. Love you very much. You
Love
already
you
know
too.
that.
Yeah.
And keep doing great things.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you know I'm always praying for you.
Thank you. Keep it up, please.
So yeah, man. Again, this has been great, man. I appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with me for a little while.
Man, I wish I could do it more, man. You know, anytime. You know, I love it. You know, I love you as a person, your family, everything you've done for me and everything you've done for the community. It never goes unnoticed or forgotten. And, you know, this is a great platform you have. I'm sure you're going to be helping so many people. And, you know, hopefully they're receptive to what you're offering because, like, you know, that stone that you throw in the pond is made ripples all over the world, and you know I think it'll continue to do that.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, thank you, man, for coming on.
Yeah,
I'll stay in touch. And,
for sure.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
And you can hang around for a moment after we get our close out here.
Yeah, I'll hang around for a minute. For sure.
Again, thank you to all who support the Blueprint, and I thank you for your support each and every week, man. I hope that I've been a blessing in some kind of way. So I'm expecting a ripple effect. You know, I love you guys. God bless you.
Next week. Enjoy
the rest of the week, and don't forget to come back next week. I'm back at my regular time, which is at 7 to 8:30, and I have Lucy Pergon, and she's coming on. She has a wonderful career with NASA, and she's also a wonderful woman of God, about to take her first missionary trip to El Salvador in a few weeks. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so again, enjoy the All-Star game tonight. Right. And I love you guys, and God bless you.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.